Hello, and welcome to the first episode of MSP Backline. Today, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Shayla, and I am currently running an MSP, but I wanted to start a new way of working with other people. Well, it's not necessarily a new way, but it's my way. I wanted to start this YouTube channel to reach out and start a community with other MSPs, with other people in the IT field, in order for us to collaborate, for you to learn, for us to grow. There won't be too many, green things that we do. For the most part, we're sticking with the administrative level, a little bit of maintenance, a little bit of installation, a little bit of engineering, a lot of bit of fun. And I'm happy that you're here. This is going to be rough. This is, again, like my first video ever, and my first for MSP Backline, and I'm happy that you're here. Today, we're going to begin the process of growing together. Again, like I said, we're showing the way up, showing the way out. If you need help, you can reach out to us. I'll give you contact information later, but first let's get to business. Within the Hyper-V construct, creating a demo environment for us to work on. Now, I've already got a Hyper-V server that's up and running. It's already got some other servers on it for other purposes. But today we're going to build out two more VMs. One is going to be a DC that may have other services. We might build out a second server some other day. And additionally, a virtual machine that is a PC to represent a client machine so we can test policies and other mechanisms of system management. Okay. We are a here at MSP Backline, we have a centralized focus on Windows environments, maybe a little bit of mobile device management in the future, um, and maybe some VoIP phone management as well. But we use a lot of Kaseya Datto tools. Great timing on my release. You guys will be coming back from Datto when I start releasing a lot of these videos. I know I'm not out there yet. We don't even have any subscribers. I'd love to have you join, give me feedback, give me comments. Eventually, I'll be having others that are doing video content as well. I hope to grow with you guys both on a technology level and on a YouTube channel level. Again, first time out. I'll be dropping links for donations and for other projects that I have going on in the future. So I'm excited to have you guys here again. I've just got my scenes together, and we're just gonna rock this together. All right, so let's switch over to our Hyper-V host, and we'll get started on building out a machine. All right, so I am going to first start by building my server unit. And actually, before I get started on building out the server, wanted to want to take a look at our some um, some system resources. So we're at 41% capacity or usage on our memory. That's fine. I'm not even worried about that. I can give each of my VMs 16, 32, whatever gigabytes, and it'll be fine. We don't need anything major. We're not doing production work. This is just test work. And again, these environments are good for you as a technician, whether you're an MSP or you are part of an IT team that's dedicated to a particular or to a specific organization, because it gives you the opportunity to test your policies in an area that's separated from your organization. Now, in this instance, we're creating a completely separate domain. For you guys, you might create a subdomain. That's something we can go over at another time that you do this in. Or again, because we're building out the PC in the virtual environment as well as the server, it really doesn't matter if you have an existing domain. You're going to be emulating your PC that way. And then if for some reason on your physical LAN you wanted to integrate with that test environment to see what happens on a physical machine, you can do that. You'll just make some adjustments to your network card, and we'll show you how to do that on the virtual machine and in the second half of the video. Or maybe in the future, I may show you how to do that on your own virtual NIC, but you can Google that, how to change VLAN settings on your NIC. And you can put your physical machine on that VLAN that's been set up specifically for your Hyper-V environment. The next thing I want to check out is disk drive space. It looks like we've got on the drive that I keep my VMs a good amount of space. So we're going to utilize that. Our first VM, we're going to call it backline. I know it's going to be DC, so I'm going to call it a DC. Go ahead and copy this name. And then we're going to use my own favorite construct for uh, uh, storing VMs, because Microsoft's way just isn't you can't really tell what VM belongs to what. If you just let it do what it wants to do, you can't tell what pieces of information belongs to what in an obvious kind of way. You have to look for various markers. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that everything is nice and clean. So I create a new folder here. I'm just going to call it backline. I'm going to put all my backline servers and PCs, or VMs rather, into this location. New folder, backline DC. Another new folder, backline PC. That might catch me. Gonna have to be careful on that one. Make sure I see my P's and my D's. Make sure I bring my glasses to any of my next sessions. All right, and then we've got a little bit of duplicity here. It doubles up the name here. Usually I'll put it in the Hyper-V folder, but we're just gonna put it in our own backline folder. That's where we want to save it. Next, we're going to make a generation 2. This is going to be UEFI based VM. It's going to be 64-bit. You don't need to use generation 1 unless you're building out a legacy system like 2008 or older. And then in the generation 1s, they're using IDE instead of SCSI interfaces for the virtual controllers for the hard disks, as well as more modern versus legacy NICs in 2 to 1 as far as that was concerned, how I laid that out. Anyway, next, I'm going to give it 8192. I'm going to give it 8 gigabytes of RAM. I'm going to connect it to my switch that I have going on here. Now, you notice I haven't gone over um, how to create in the elements of a Hyper-V, because this isn't about building out a Hyper-V server. This is about setting up a demo environment on a Hyper-V server that already exists. So we may do a Hyper-V build out, but if we did that, it would probably be on an existing Hyper-V server so that I could get a recording of me building out Hyper-V server without having to fiddle with having to record a physical device. On server 2022 Hyper-V, you can um, uh, build a Hyper-V inside of a Hyper-V. And the word is escaping me right now, but let me go ahead and select this disk. We're burning some time here. Server 2022. I don't really have the resources on this particular host to do that kind of stuff. But the day may come when I've got those available. The next virtual machine, again, I said it's going to be backline PC. Copy that name. Drop it in backline. And I think I may have messed up with my first one, but that's fine. I'll show you how to move. 8192. There we go. We're going to connect. And we're going to make some adjustments to some of their settings here in just 1 second. I just want to clean up the way everything is stored. We're going to do this Windows 10 install. Next. And I make sure to select my media. Just 1 second here. All right. Now let me get back to it. Sorry about that. Got a message from one of my partners. I have muted it so it won't show up. They're always working. All right, so now we are finishing, and what I wanted to do is just double check how I had everything set up for my storage for backline DC. Let me take a look at my folder because there shouldn't be anything in there. So this is ultimately some DC. Yep, that's my DC disk. So what I'll do to clean that up is I'll just do a move, and I want to move everything to the same location. And I'm just going to say move virtual machine. Oh, I'm doing a live migration. Oh, not move virtual machine, move virtual machine storage. And we'll move it all to a single location. And then I'm just going to choose the folder that I want everything to be in. Oops. Backline on the E drive, specifically in the DC folder. So this is going to move that hard disk over. There it is. It's gone. And now I can get rid of this virtual hard disk folder and everything looks nice and clean. Right. I guess I'll change the view. I'm still learning OBS. That's what I'm using for my broadcast. So I'll just change it up, see how things work. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this folder here. All right, excellent. All right, now let's begin with making some modifications to some of our settings. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 4 processors. It starts with 1. We do want secure boot enabled. For the network adapter, we're going to build out ultimately a VLAN specifically for this demo environment. We're going to make sure that when we do that, we mark up this section with the appropriate VLAN identification number. Right now, we're not going to do that because we want our server and our PC to be able to get its updates as soon as we get online. We do not have that VLAN ready. We'll have that ready by our next video. Um, Another thing I want to do is I want to toggle some services offered. Time synchronization off because this DC is going to be the network time server. So it'll collect from the time servers of the world and then disperse that time to the clients on the system. Guest services backup. Guest services, I want to be able to manage the machine from within Hyper-V. Do a right-click shutdown, right-click reset. I want to be able to do those things. Backup, probably not as necessary because the backup tools we'll be using are agentful. We don't use agentlet. We're not using agentlets backup tools. We'll actually be utilizing one of Kaseya's new backups. Their Datto endpoint backup v2. So keep an eye out for those videos because that's going to be very insightful. Those are some new features. And I'm having fun with them. I've got a lot of servers that I'm still migrating, but I'm having a lot of fun with that. So time synchronization off, backup, guest services on. All right. Another thing that I want to do is I want to say I automatically want to start it 0. It's a DC, and then I want to shut it down when the host is rebooting. Um, I just prefer to do that other than save because I like to be sensitive. Like DC, not that big of a deal, but a line of business server or what I might call or what I'll often call an LOB. That for those sometimes SQL servers have issues with having their state paused. Well, sorry, reading teams having their state paused and then coming back up and running. I've had that happen at some various clients, medical firms, law firms, where their servers just don't play well with saves. So shutdown, great thing. And then on a managing of updates level, if you time it properly, then what you can do by updating your host is also, uh, uh, well, that doesn't really work so well. Don't, I'm not gonna, let's not get into that. I can go into tangents. I tend to go into tangents. I'm gonna pause on that tangent and let's get the ball rolling. So we're gonna click apply for those settings, and then we can just pull down the drop down menu, go to our next device, and make similar modifications. We're gonna go ahead and give it 4. Again, I'm not boosting it with a whole bunch of processors because we're not in a production environment solely for testing and services offered. Do some toggling. We automatically want to start this, but we're not going to start it up immediately. We're actually going to give it like, I don't know, 15 seconds should do to make sure that the DC, actually, we're going to move that to 30 to make sure that the DC boots and the services that are responsible for managing the Active Directory load as well. So the system can get its computer push policies, etc. All right. And the last thing, save. No, we want to shut it down. All right, apply. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get started with building out our DC. First, connect to your uh, virtual machine. The reason why is because of this. Click start. You have to press any key to boot from CD. If you do that and you don't have the console open, basically it's just time sensitive is what it is. You'll get an error on boot because you'll miss your opportunity to press any key to boot from CD. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the PC. I'm going to go ahead and connect to that as well. We're going to multitask here. You will find that I do lots of things at once. I'll try to keep it calm, but for the sake of its expediency and not having like super long videos when we don't have to, you'll find me doing some things in tandem. All right, we're going to use 22 standard desktop experience. I'm not going to get into licensing, but I can say there's absolutely no reason to put data center on a VM guest unless that VM guest is going to be another Hyper-V host. Okay. Oh, well, unless there are some other data center features that you need other than the ability to have a Hyper-V host hosted on a Hyper-V host. All right, this is going. We're going to click start on this one. Time sensitive, remember, any key. These installs should go pretty quickly. All right, and let's move forward with this install. Install now. It's pretty basic stuff. If you've been in the industry for any amount of time, you've done this a number of times. But I understand that sometimes IT can be really compartmentalized. So maybe you only have the ability to do this little bit and not all of the other little bits. If you want to play around with things like this, you can peel off some of your resources. We're going to pick the Pro install. You can peel off some of your resources or beef up a home workstation or find a used server. There may be times when I'll have a used server and I might offer it up as a prize for an answer to a particular question, or even offer them up for sale. Just reusable. Again, community. We oftentimes, especially when we get to a place where maybe things might not be as available, we can start to lean on each other to swap equipment. I don't know. I'm building this as we go. So custom install, select that available drive. Next, 37% on the server, and this one should move along pretty quickly as well. Now, once these servers build out, I'm going to turn them up. I'm going to set their passwords for the first time, and then I'm just going to start running updates. I'm not going to worry about putting any agents on them right now. But in our next video, what we're going to do is we'll already have the VLAN set. That's some content that we're not going to be carrying in here. It's a little bit difficult for me to mark that up without revealing too much of my own environment. You see snippets of a server name here or there, but we're pretty well obfuscated. But as far as my firewall is concerned, I don't really want to get into that here. Maybe I can start a blog at some point in time and I can do a write up on that. But honestly, um, you can Google finding how to create a VLAN on a Sonic wall, which is what I prefer to use. But like I said, maybe we'll come back and do that. I'm not sure. Again, just getting started, and I'm already having a whole lot of fun here. But we're gonna get that domain going, and we will configure the VLANs on the VMs to basically logically chop them off from the rest of any environments that I have going on here. They'll have their own separate internet, so to speak, and the communication will be just between those devices, and then between those devices and the internet, but not between any of the other VMs that are on my environment. All right. So please drop a like. Please subscribe. Join us. We're going to have content coming out regularly. This is what I do. This is not a hobby for me. I am just extending what I do on a day-to-day basis out to a general community, uh, just to just because. I've spent a lot of time learning stuff on my own. I had a community that I loved and adored growing up in IT back in Dallas Fort Worth, and I moved away, and a lot of the people that I worked with started doing other things. Um, I was not one of them. And so I found myself in California, and I have grown to know a lot of other people that are in the field. But I want to expand that. I want to reach out to organizations that are not in Central California. I want to reach out to organizations that are in completely different regions. Why? Because we're not in competition. You're doing your thing there. I'm doing my thing here, and we might be able to find some pretty awesome solutions that both of us can use to help our clients. At the end of the day, a happy client makes for a happy MSP, or rather, or even a happy staff makes for a happy IT department. So our goal here is going to be to work swiftly, to work smoothly, understanding that we're going to find hiccups, we're going to find problems, we're going to work through those problems together in the best way that we possibly can. I'll try to keep the videos as short as I can, but I want to make them long enough so that they actually have some content that you can utilize. I've spent a lot of time, again, learning on the web, not necessarily always on YouTube, but I always found that content, especially from Microsoft, God love them, is always missing something super crucial that just isn't part of the steps. Stuff happens. Rarely you plan things out so that when things fail, You can fix the things that you need to fix and then get back to the plan. That's why you plan things out, not because it means things will go perfectly, but because it keeps you in line when you have to veer off the road to fix something that you didn't necessarily foresee, which is another reason why it's good to create a demo environment because you can foresee if you try what it is that you want on your demo environment first. All right. Thank you all for joining me today. First video, rough video. Happy to be here. There will be more and things will get better. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you on our next video. Look at that. Looks like our server's done.